Canada leads joint G7 statement condemning Russian aggression in Ukraine.
Here's a summary of the article.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Chrystia Freeland, pictured here in Buenos Aires, Argentina on Thursday, says Canada will speak loudly in denouncing Russian aggression against Ukraine. Canada has spearheaded a G7 foreign ministers' statement that condemns Russian aggression in Ukraine and urges the release of detained sailors, Foreign Affairs Minister Chrystia Freeland says. The joint communiqué says the foreign ministers of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom and the United States, and the High Representative of the European Union, are concerned about Russia's actions against Ukraine in the Kerch Strait and surrounding waters. The G7 is united in condemning this Russian aggression, is united in calling for the release of those 24 sailors who are prisoners of war, is united in calling for the vessels to be released and is united in standing for Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity, said Freeland. There had been mounting pressure on Canada from top Ukrainian officials to forge a diplomatic front against Russia's actions. Ryy Shevchenko, the Ukrainian ambassador to Canada, had said that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau should use Canada's position as G7 president to deal with the current crisis. President Poroshenko specifically said he was very glad to have the chance to speak to our Prime Minister on the eve of the G7 meeting, and I'm not in the room right now, but Canada certainly anticipates that this will be an important issue in those conversations, Freeland said.
This post received a score of 22,870, with an upvote ratio of 93%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
I think it's important to note here Canada has the largest Ukrainian diaspora outside Russia or Ukraine itself, about 3 to 5 million people, even more than the United States in real terms. The foreign minister herself is amongst them. She is also banned from Russia. Suffice it to say, appearing strong on Russian aggression against Ukraine is important to lots of people in Canada.
I knew that sounded extremely high considering Canada's total population is 35 million. Wikipedia says 1.4 meters people of at least partial Ukrainian origin.
Some towns like Vegreville are almost completely Ukrainian. We got lots of them here. And the best part is they brought all their awesome food with them. Pierogies and cabbage rolls with sour cream. So good.
The Ukrainian communities, along with the pockets of Germany you can find all over rural Canada, are treasures.
Word. Vegreville is super insular. Like, I'm black and get stares like a motherfucker, but god damn their food is so tasty I can look past it. Feed me.
I'm from northern BC originally, and had Mennonite neighbors, the smells that came from that yard, man.
Dude, that bread and bacon. So good. This is starting to feel a lot like a CIV game. Lots of denouncements and condemning, but nothing actually happens.
I always kept note of who and how many times I was denounced. Their capitals would be put to the sword.
Well, with the US and the UK committing Sudoku, someone has stepped up.
This was a joint G7 response. Canada gave the comment because, which means literally all the G7 are behind the statement.
I was wondering, wasn't the G7 disbanded in 2014 and rebranded as the G20? I'm assuming I obviously got that wrong, so what happened in 2014 to the G7?
I believe in 2014 it went from the G8 summit to the G7 summit following the Russian annexation of Crimea. Russia was kicked out if I remember correctly.
Yep, with the Russian annexation of Crimea, Russia was kicked out of the G7.
Russia is quickly becoming the most important threat to our world again, while we continue to argue the merits of pipelines.
The greatest long-term threat is China, but the greatest short-term threat is Russia, yes.
Exactly. The United States needs a long-term plan for China. If we're lucky, Zinni the Pooh will continue his power grab and consolidate more and more power. Typically, whenever one man controls a country, he fucks it up somehow. Well, those would be the positive karma approaches. The other way would be to use whatever options which are available to make the country implode. Don't worry BBY, we'll save you.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.